Welcome everyone, I'm EvoEightRich, and this is the Anything blog.
Chuck, what are you doing? Get out of there. Give me that. Sorry about that, guys. He's always trying to steal the spotlight. Welcome to the daily... You gonna say it? Or you want me to say it?
Anything blog.
Good job, Chuck. Okay, cool. Gotta make him think he did a good job. Anyway, as I said, this is the daily anything vlog. And today what I have is one of my last firearms. This is the last one I have left. And so let's get started. What I have here is a golden Weston 22 long rifle, single action revolver. Now this was also my grandfather's, and I've shot this one quite a bit. This one has had some issues. First, let's make sure it's empty. On this particular type of gun, you have to put the hammer at half cock, and then you can check the cylinder. And you can see there's nothing in there. It's empty. Safety first, always. But as I was saying, this is a single action Golden Weston 22 long rifle. If you're not familiar with 22s, one of the main issues you can have with 22s is because it is a rimfire. You do have a tendency of getting the cylinder bore, the edges get messed up to where you're not able to eject the cartridge. On this particular model, you have the ejection rod on the bottom here like an old cowboy gun. So when you have it lined up with the hole and you push the ejection rod, you can see the ejection rod comes down through and it extracts the spent case. When you have a 22 like this, I've been using a lot, because it is a rimfire and it's hitting the edge, has a tendency of getting the bore hole messed up, so when it gets in there it's too tight, so you can't get it out. I'm going to take the cylinder out and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, on this particular gun, in order to take the cylinder out, you have to pull a pin out, which is underneath. You see there's a little lock here, I don't know if you can see it, and there's a pin right here where my finger is. So you got to push the lock in and pull the pin out. See the pin's coming out, and here's the pin. And once the pin is out, pull the hammer back, and the cylinder should fall right out. Okay, set that aside. But here's your cylinder. Okay, here's the area I'm talking about you have problems. Is right here you have metal that actually gets hit after a while because it's hitting the rim, because it's a rim fire. They don't have a primer in the middle, and so these holes get messed up to where when the shell is in there, the case does not want to come out. It gets stuck. So what you have to do is you buy a tool. It's called an ironing tool, and basically it's a reamer, and you stick it in there. It's a hand tool. You by hand, and you stick it in there and you ream these out, cleaning all that up. I have to do that. I haven't done that yet. So that's what you do to correct that. So if you ever have a problem with that, you need to buy the ironing tool and clean that out. Okay, the other problem I have with this gun, because it's really old, is the cylinder lock. The cylinder lock here to rotate the cylinder around. When the cylinder goes around, you see this goes down. You can see, I don't know if you can see it or not, but you see when you pull the trigger, this will go down. And what it does is when it goes down, it allows the cylinder to rotate. The cylinder will rotate. And then when the hammer goes back up, this goes up, and it locks it in. Locks it in these notches. And so when it's in these notches and locked in correctly, the hole, the bore hole on the gun lines up with the hole on the cylinder, so you don't have a problem with the bullet not going out or not being misaligned. So that's what it is. It lines it up with the notch. So what I had to do is I actually had to replace that. I pulled the gun apart. You got to pull it apart from the bottom. And the original piece was in two. It was a two-piece deal, and it broke. So here's part of the piece that came out. I don't know if you can see that or not. But here's the actual lock that actually goes through the body of the firearm that locks the cylinder. And this piece was actually longer, and there was a piece on each side. It was like in two pieces like this. And this enabled it to be with the spring. Well, one end broke. So I had to make a new one out of a brand new piece of metal, because you can't buy this. And what I did is this piece on mine is this piece on mine is one piece, and so it's much stronger. And then I had to just craft this piece here, and so that's what you see in there. If you can see that piece there is brand new. So that's what enables it. When you pull it down, it'll rotate. When you go back, it locks. Now, one other problem I have with this gun is that the firing pin, this particular model has a firing pin on the hammer. Some of them will have firing pins in here. The firing pin is loose. As you can see, it's coming out. So they have to be resoldered and put back in. So you basically pull it out, solder it, put it in there, and then you're good to go. This is not safe to fire because this is going to move and not line up. You're going to have issues. So this has to be fixed before it can be used. So that's the next thing I have to do. And basically putting it back together is the same thing. Put it back in, slide the pin in. But that's going to do it. That's pretty much it. I mean, like I said, it's a Golden Weston 22 long rifle, single action. Oh yeah, and basically single action, if you're not aware, is you have to pull the hammer back and every time to fire, and then you pull the trigger and it will fall forward. And then you want to fire again, you got to pull it back, pull the trigger to fall. It's a single action. A double action will be where you pull the trigger. This would actually go back and forward like my other guns. But this is a single action. See, here's the rod. You can see it without the cylinder now. That's the ejection rod. The loading gate is right here. You pull this down, and you'll be able to get the bullets in through here. And you have to load them one at a time. Load one in, rotate, load one in, rotate, and that's how it works. I can try to put the cylinder back in. Sometimes it's a pain in the butt. We'll try to get it in real quick. It doesn't give me a hard time. And then I can show you what I'm talking about. Get all that lined up. See, it's kind of a pain in the butt. You got to get it lined up right. There you go. It's like that. See, it locks in there. Here's your loading gate on the side. And you put the bullets in here individually. So you'll basically load it like this. You put one in, and then you rotate, put another one in, rotate. That's how you put them in. You rotate it. You can get this in a position. Get this in the position where you rotate this around. Say you rotate it around, rotate, rotate. And when you eject, it's the same thing. It's very time consuming. You eject, rotate around, eject. See, that's what makes it line up. But this was actually not working when I pulled this back. This was not rotating. Couldn't find out it was that lock. So I'll put a brand new one in there and it lines up perfectly. Now this hangs up a little because of the hammer, because of the firing pin. But that's how it works. Alright guys, so like I said, this is the last one that I have. This one is really old. It's a good gun. It has a fixed sight here and a little blade sight here. Looks like an old cowboy style, and but it's 22 long rifle, so it's not much to it. It don't kick or anything. It's basically 22. But this was my grandfather's as well, so it's another one I'm not getting rid of. But that's gonna do it. If I missed anything, or you something you know about that I don't, you can put it in the comments down below. But that's gonna do it. So if you liked the video, please hit the like. If you haven't subscribed, please do. And if you would share my video, I greatly appreciate it. It helps me out a lot. Alright guys, I said Golden Western. This is actually a Golden West. W-E-S-T, Golden West. My mistake. So I realized that when I was reviewing it, that it's Golden West, not Western. Alright? Alright, thanks a lot guys. See you later. Bye.